Hey guys, I'm really excited to show you how you can make this image happen on your phone without any extra apps or doing anything different with your iPhone other than maybe having the most current iOS on your phone. So let's just jump right in, and I want to show you how to do it. It's super simple. So the first thing I want to show you guys is on the upper left hand corner, it shows the word live. What does that even mean? It means I took the image as a live image. That means that when I took the photo, basically it created a mini video of the image I took. So there's video tied to that one image, and I can actually select several of those images if I want to use those. So that's one feature that you can use with it. There's also audio tied to it. So if I actually hold it down, you can see a mini clip of the video or image that you took. How else can we use it? And this is where this comes into play for this image. If you scroll up, there's a film strip of different attributes that you can apply to that image. One being loop, so it just goes in a circle, plays the same thing over and over again. The other one is bounce. It's kind of like boomerang for Instagram. So it'll go forward and kind of go in reverse again. And the very last one, that's the one that we're interested in for this video, is long exposure. What the heck does that mean? Long exposure basically means that you take all these images for this application, not as it from a photography standpoint, for how the phone is working here. It's taking all these images, it's layering them and aligning all the images, and whatever is moving, it's gonna create, you're gonna see motion. So for here, the water's moving, the clouds are kind of basically still, and obviously the rocks are not moving. So the water's gonna look nice and creamy and really cool looking. So we're gonna start there. That's the very first thing. That's step one. The next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna click on edit. Most people gravitate to the filter, the instant filter. Don't do that. We're gonna hop over to light and color adjustments. This is kind of where a lot of the magic happens from the color standpoint and really bringing this image alive. I want you to go ahead and select light, and then it gives you a generalized, hey, Apple thinks this is how the image should look. So if you scroll, I want you guys to really play around with this and see what the image is doing. I'm gonna go to the far right because that is closest to what I want the image to look like. Then I'm gonna go to the light attributes subsets, which are brilliance, exposure, etc., as you see there, and I'm gonna play with each one of them. So I'm gonna scroll this over to the right, and then if I just slide up with my finger there, I can go to the next attribute or subset, is exposure. Exposure, I probably wouldn't play around with a lot. Actually, you know what? Let me go back really quick. For brilliance, brilliance is basically what it's trying to do is kind of neutralize the lighting in the situation, almost make it HDR-ish, high dynamic range. So what basically our eyes kind of see, that's why HDR became so popular years ago. So this becomes a little bit more accurate. It's like, man, this is what I saw with my eyes when I was there. I didn't see all these dark, not everything was in shadow, etc. So that's where brilliance kind of comes into play. Exposure, because this is a JPEG, you probably don't want to play with this setting too much. What it's going to do, it's going to make the image become very pixelated. You see like lots of dots and grains, and if that's what you want to go for, that's fine. But for this image, I'm probably going to try to stay close to the reset zeroed area for the most part, just because if I go to an extreme, you can kind of see it's not really doing too much, especially there, it blows out everything. So we'll just stay right about there. Highlights means when I'm playing with the slider here, the highlight, just think about what is the light hitting, highlight, and that is what you're adjusting. So the clouds, the water, etc. So if I play around with this, that's what you're affecting. I want the sky, the blues, where the light is coming through, to really kind of stand out a little bit. So I'm gonna bring those down a bit. It's just the feel that I'm going for. Shadows, same thing. Everything that falls in shadow of the light, that's what you're affecting on this slider. So it's pretty simple. You can just play around with these and see where you want to be. It's actually does a pretty good job of where it's at. And as you can see, we're literally pretty close to where we want. Brightness, if you just, I can get into the technical terms here, but you can just play around and see what it's doing. So brightness is just gonna add light to basically the entire image, or darken the entire image. And then contrast. Contrast is kind of interesting. So basically our images are made up of tons of little pixels, and say you have a dark pixel here and a light pixel here. When you're playing with that slider, it's gonna make this dark pixel either I'm gonna make it more extreme or more contrast-y. What's gonna happen is this pixel is gonna get super dark and this one's gonna get super white. Or if I diminish the contrast. This one's gonna get, the dark is gonna get a little bit lighter and the light is gonna get a little bit darker, trying to match the pixel next to it. Okay. Then after contrast, the next thing is black point. So you can play with that however you want. This will do the same thing with your darks. Just play around with each of these settings and sliders and really familiarize yourself with like what's going on. You don't have to know like the why each thing works. I just have been shooting for a while, so I understand a little bit more, but just slide it around and what is visually appealing to you. And obviously there's a reason for it. So you obviously were visually appealed to the image that I posted. That's why you're watching this. So what is visually appealing to you in this image, right? Everybody has their own liking and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a cool thing about art. All right, so the very last thing here is the color. So you can use the slider here again. You go back either direction. I'm gonna add a little bit of saturation to it. So if you click on here, you can play with that. I just like the way it looks. Again, play with these sliders, see what you like, and that's it as far as color and light editing. So the next thing we're gonna do is crop. So that was number two. Two was editing. One was changing it to long exposure. Two, the editing aspect to it. And then finally, the last thing we're gonna do is the crop. Cropping is extremely important. So it's what makes the eye and an image really attract someone to it. And there's kind of rules behind it. So for example, you might have heard the rule of thirds, and if you haven't, basically all it's saying here in the rule of thirds, that's why you always see this grid. You might wonder why. It might help you center an image or something like that, but it's also to help you apply these rule of thirds. So it's kind of like a tic-tac-toe box. So if I go here and I wanted to post this for my Instagram story, so I'm gonna choose 9/16 aspect ratio, and it's gonna go ahead and format it for what would be Instagram or Snapchat or something like that. It's basically the dimensions of your iPhone. So I now have my grid, and what I wanna do is that bottom line, that bottom third, I want it to be all land. So I'm gonna line it with the horizon, okay? So if my image was tilted or slide, I look at the horizon and try to keep it as level as possible. I understand the Earth is round, so can't be perfect, but try to get it in line with all of that. And then scroll over I'm gonna scroll over to the right a little bit because I want that rock with a building on top of it to kind of stand out. It's part of the image, and I like how the water is also flowing in front. It looks good to me. And literally, that is all you do. You're done with your image for free on your phone. And these are kind of expensive, but I get it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'm happy to respond. And here's another example just to kind of show you like playing around. I took this image the other day. I had posted it on my Instagram story. This is what the image looked like out of my phone. I did the same thing, just playing with the settings in my phone. And my buddy's like, man, how did you take that image? It looks so cool. This is a little over processed for me, but I really like the moss on the rocks, and I just took it with my iPhone. It was super simple. So you really can take an image from this to this just with your iPhone. There was no water moving, so I didn't have to take a live image or anything like that. I just went straight to editing, I cropped it, and that was it. So this one I cropped with the waterline directly in the center. It doesn't really follow the rule of thirds, but that also works. What is visually appealing for you? You create the rules. So if you like it and you enjoy it and you want to share it, go for it. Hey guys, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope moving forward, you are not pressing that filter button. If you are, I don't know what to tell you, but it's okay. Nonetheless, I also want to point out one quick thing. The image was taken during sunset, so you're going to get a lot more color during that time frame. And I would just want you to understand that lighting is everything. Without light, you literally cannot take a picture. So understand that lighting is everything, and framing your image will definitely take it to the next level. So understanding that also is another component to photography. So even just on your phone. If you guys have any questions, send me a note. I am human and I made tons of mistakes. I still make tons of mistakes. But I've had some great mentors. I've done a lot of education and reading, and I'm trying to understand exactly how all this works because it's something that I love. So because I love it so much also, I like sharing it. So if you guys have any questions, don't be embarrassed to ask me. Shoot me a note. I'm happy to reach out and respond when I have time to any of your inquiries or questions or whatever it might be. If I don't know the answer, hopefully I can at least point you in the right direction. So stay blessed, use your phones, take pictures, share them. That's it. Have a good day. And let me know what you want in the next video.